What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. Appreciate you taking the time and tuning in. We're here, week 10, behind enemy lines, and Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 6-2. So, getting excited. We know there have been some ups and downs here this season, but the fact that you've only lost 2 games heading into week 10, that's great news. So I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time, hitting that like button, sharing, subscribing. But we're about to break it all down, get to know this Dallas Cowboys team. We'll take a look at what's different since the last time we saw them last year. We'll talk about their stats, their rankings, the NFC East and the NFC as a whole, standings. We'll talk about their coaching staff, their injuries, their practice squad, and of course, take a look at their depth chart. So we're going to get to know everything going on with this team. Love to hear from you guys. You have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to add? Got a score prediction already? Whatever is on your mind, love to hear from you. Let's start this bad boy off and talk about some of the changes that have been made to this team. So we'll talk about in free agency and just today. So they just traded for wide receiver Jonathan Mingo from Carolina. So we'll give them that one. But you could see they added some defensive players. Kendricks, that's a great addition. But you got Phillips on IR, Joseph, Watkins, and Vigil, all depth pieces there. So really didn't go out and spend any money. But you see they lost quite a few players here in Tyron Smith, Pollard, Gallup, Biadaz, and then on defense, Armstrong, Fowler, Gallimore, Van Der Esch, and even more. So those are some of the key losses for them, but they definitely lost a lot of pieces. So you're thinking they're going to load up in the draft, right? So they did have 8 picks here, and a couple of good picks here, a couple of questionable picks here. But I thought overall they had a decent draft, and some of these guys are being used right now. Tyler Guyton, I know a lot of people were tough on that pick, and, maybe I wouldn't have necessarily went with that, but it's a pick they kind of need. So he's a good player, and, when he plays us, he sucks. So let's go whoop his ass. But that's what they did in the draft, in free agency. And now let's take a look at how that's doing for them so far this season. So we'll take a look at how the Cowboys have been doing. And 20th in points, 14th in total yards. That's very unlike them. 31st in rushing. They are second in passing, though. So that seems a little bit more like them, but just a one-dimensional team. And you can see they're getting sacked, tied for 20th there, tied for 30th in interceptions. Nobody wants to talk about that because it's not Jalen Hurts, but tied for 27th in turnovers overall. This offense has been struggling mightily. Running backs not to be found. And you only really got CeeDee Lamb there. You got injuries, so been rough on them. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, holy hell, you had Mike Zimmer in there as the D coordinator. Now, 31st in points, 27th in total yardage. Can't stop the run. Not doing great against the pass. Not getting too many sacks and not getting very many turnovers. So, this has definitely been a struggling Cowboys team, and you can see in the NFC East, they find themselves in third. Luckily, the Giants are even worse than them at number 4 there at 2-6. But the Cowboys, man, look, I'm just telling you what's going on right now. You never want to sleep on anyone, but this is not the same Cowboys team that was, 12-5 last season. So you could see 13th in the NFC. But the Eagles sitting there at 6th, that second wild card spot. But we're coming for that NFC East. So, Commanders, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. But this is what the NFC looks like currently. And, man, that's wild to see the Cowboys all the way over there trying to play catch up. But you can see the division leaders, wild card places. And the Eagles, the last couple of weeks, have moved themselves into that wild card spot. But let's go get that divisional win. So, that's how the Cowboys are doing so far. That's what's going on with their team. Definitely struggling, but let's take a look at what this team looks like. We'll start it off with the coaching staff. Mike McCarthy there. What the hell? Marty Schottenheimer, Press Schottenheimer. This must have been from, I took the graphic from Press Taylor and the Jaguars, and you are seeing that. So, no, it is definitely not Press. But I think it's Marty's kid there. I can't remember his name. Brian, that's his name. Brian Schottenheimer. But you got Mike Zimmer there on defense now. John Fossil, special teams. But look, Mike McCarthy, he's on that hot seat, man. I don't know how he keeps getting chances. This team, I love it. I think it's fantastic. But, yeah, dude, definitely a struggling coaching staff. And Well, we'll take a look at what this team looks like. So here's their practice squad before we jump into it. They got Dalvin Cook. They've been elevating him because Ezekiel Elliott's just pretty much given up. You can see a bunch of guys you've never heard of, Jalen Cropper, Seth Williams. But no, they do have some decent guys in the practice squad. Princeton Font, Josh Ball's there. So they do have some intriguing names. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Denzel Daxon, international player program. So that is why they have 17 players here. Got Phil Hoskins. That sounds like a name I would just make up. Jalen Dalton. You got Luigi Villain. But yeah, that's Luigi Villain. Yeah, we talked about him when he used to be with the Vikings. But that is their practice squad. Now let's take a look at their injury list. So these are the guys you're not going to see as well on this depth chart. This is where they are. DaRon Bland. Now, he has an asterisk because he is designated to return. So if he does come off of IR for this game, that'd be a great, addition for them. But they've got Bostic, Cooks, Edoga, Nealon, the rookie, Lawrence, Warrior. Aura Warrior, Phillips, Stevens, Thomas, and Williams. Holy hell. That is quite an IR list there. So as you can see, they've got a few injuries going on here, and those are the names you're not going to see on this depth chart that I am about to show you. So you know everything else going on. Now let's take a look at what this team looks like. And we know one major injury that's going on, so let's start off with that with Dak Prescott. He is going to be out for multiple weeks, and that's unfortunate news for them. So now Cooper Rush is going to have to step in here. Now you can see the few draft picks they made. They've got 2 linemen that are starting, so that's, pretty good. You've got a wide receiver that's depth. You got a tight end that's depth there, undrafted kid. But you can see they did not change much. Brooks and Tolbert are your other receivers because, well, Cooks was on IR, as you just saw there. So you still got CeeDee Lamb. Got to shut him down. I cannot wait to see Cooper DeJean going toe-to-toe with him. Going to be fun to watch. Jake Ferguson, he's a beast too, so you got to watch out for him. So they do have some guys there. I put Zeke as the backup because this dude sucks and just doesn't want to show up. So Dowdle gave him the start. Deuce Vaughn hasn't even been blamed. Hunter Lepke is really their fullback. So what the hell? As I mentioned, Dalvin Cook getting elevated. Probably going to see him this game. So, yeah, man, definitely hurting room there. And as we mentioned, a lot of struggles going on with this offense. So this Eagles defense needs to pounce, and I think they will do just that. And then on their defense, you can see, as I mentioned, Leah Fowl and then Carson, their draft picks are starters now. And Carson, because of DaRon Bland being on IR. But Kendricks, that was a good addition for them. And obviously, they're hopeful to get Micah Parsons back this week. It never went on IR, but has been banged up and missing games. So they talk about him coming back. Mozzie Smith's finally playing. But you can see the depth pieces they added in blue there. And then everyone else are guys that have been on the team since last year. So those are the changes you can see to the defensive side of the ball. And as I mentioned, they'd love to get Bland back. We'll see if A.J. Brown's ready for the Eagles, but we still got Devontae Smith. So I'm sure they would love to have their guys healthy, and I'm hoping that they do. Don't want any excuses, even though they've got the main one already built in there. And Lamb is banged up, but we'll see tomorrow with that initial injury report. So here are the special teams guys. Aubrey, Anger, Sieg, and then Turpin, the return guy. Sometimes sprinkle in Vaughn or Wanye Thomas. Dowdle can also return the ball. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Behind Enemy Lines with your Week 10 opponent for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. And we know they're struggling, but it's a divisional game. So you never sleep on those guys, especially with all this stuff going on. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to be hungry, and they want to spoil what we've got going on here. So we've got to come out swinging. We obviously just let a crappy team like the Jaguars stick around, almost come back. So we got to get our heads out of our asses, and we know they will. It's okay. Games like that happen. At least you win. So build on that. Get better, and let's go beat the living hell out of the Cowboys. Hope you're having a great start to your Dallas week the last couple of days here. But tomorrow is the initial injury report, so I'll have injury updates for both teams. You'll know what's going on there. And then, of course, on Thursday, you'll get the top matchups. We'll talk about my favorite matchups. Already mentioned one, going to be one of my top ones, Old Coop versus Lamb. And then, going into Friday, I will have the game status report, who's out, who's questionable. Then we'll have Fan Friday live, taking whatever you guys got. And then Saturday, practice squad elevations. All I've got for you here and now. But if you got something from this, you enjoyed it, like the graphics, whatever it may be, Appreciate you guys hitting that like button, sharing this stuff, subscribing to the channel. As I mentioned, they demonetized me, so doing everything they can to saddlebag me. If you guys want to support the channel, do not feel like you have to, but that's the PayPal, the Cash App, whatever. That's the name, Jimmy Smith 5914. So whatever little thing goes in front of it, you guys don't, again, have to feel that you have to give anything, but it really does help, and I thank you for it. YouTube, do your best to keep trying to stop me. I'll keep coming back stronger. So I love each and every one of you. Hope you have yourselves a great night, great rest of your week. Hope to talk to you tomorrow. But until then, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!